It's been almost 6 years since the PlayStation Classic first released, and you guys know this thing sucked when it first came out. But it became awesome shortly after with all the hacks and stuff that was going on with it. There's a bunch of different ways to make this thing awesome. There's a lot of people out there supporting it. And one of the people that I got to give a shout out to who really put a lot of effort into this thing was Magnus RC, and still Magnus RC. He recently put out a build back in April, and I did a video on it at that time. It was really awesome. It was a Retroboot build. And he gave me a new version of that build where I read the name of it, and I was like, farewell to the PlayStation Classic. What's going on here? So I hit him up, and yeah, it's something that's been going on for a while here. I mean, I guess I'm going to have to be saying farewell to the PlayStation Classic as well. I've been covering it for so long. But when I reached out to him, he said, yeah, it's pretty much a farewell tour. He did an update to his previous build. This is going to be available on backups.me. If you want to check it out, you can go to that website. Can't directly link you. It's just the way it is. Got to understand that. But he's got a few more builds, in him. He did this updated version. I'll put a link to the previous video. But this one, he added more systems, expanded upon stuff. But he's got a couple other builds he said he's going to be working on. And then he'll be moving on to other projects. So looking forward to, seeing what he's got planned, the stuff that he's going to be working on. But let's get into this real quick and see what we got on here. So if we go to all games, we have 6,117 games. So I'll be testing out a few things here, trying out some systems. So we got all the Atari stuff. Let me go into a system, just kind of show you. We got box arts and whatnot. So that is cool. Got that Atari Lynx. A lot of cool stuff there. Dreamcast. We got a couple games. Cannon Spike and Stormwind. Okay. Nintendo Game & Watch. I did make a short list of some of the differences that I noticed, but I'll point the stuff out that I know for sure is different. But here's some Game & Watch games. This is interesting. Seeing this on a build. Low-Res NX. I don't know what this is. I think I mentioned that in the previous video. Never seen this stuff before. Game Gear, Game Boy, 41 games. Not like a crazy amount, like not full lists for each thing, but some systems there is. Like Genesis, you got 937 games. Hacks, I know this one was expanded a bit. Used to be just a couple, now you got 47. A lot of cool games here. All ROM hacks. Then you got some homebrew games, 13 games here. Asta Bros, Tanglewood, all that kind of stuff, and Television, Master System. We'll test out the more, heavy hitters here. Sega Mega Drive MSU. So these are like the CD games. Can't really play those because some of the music, it's got CD music for Sega Genesis games. Naomi, we got 4 games. Some Monkey Ball action. Marvel vs. Capcom 2 plays fantastically well. Thomas Wave. I know the last time I checked this build out, like this wasn't expanded, but Sushi Bar, I was like, what is this? Like I've played every single one of these games, but Sushi Bar, I didn't mess with. This one struggles a little bit. It's just a puzzle game with sushi. It does struggle a little bit, so I don't know. Not really worth playing, but the rest of these games played just fine. Nintendo DS, a lot of cool stuff here. Always awesome to see a DS on these little setups, right? Neo Geo CD. This is one that's been expanded on. The first build only had 26 games. This time, there's 105 games. So yeah, a lot of stuff here. Kind of filled out the list, so that's cool. Having all those. NES, you got them homebrew. Same 3 games as the last time. Pocket. Nintendo 64, it was just these ROM hacks. I tried out Dragon Ball Kart 64, plays just fine. Not really my style of things, so I don't really care about these kind of ROM hacks, but some people do. Beats of Rage, I don't think Beats of Rage, Open Beats of Rage was on the previous build. This was like a 128 gigabyte build, but Open Beats of Rage, there's some interesting things here. I did play this Maplevania, which is like Maple Story and Castlevania. It's goofy as all heck. But you got like Turtles, Rescue Palooza, awesome game. What else do we got here? PC Engine. What was there? 192 games. Then you do have the PC Engine CD. which I don't think was in the previous build. So there's a handful of games there. And then Pokemon Mini. A couple PSP games, just Dracula Chronicles and Metal Slug Double X. Pretty cool. Games played just fine. And then a little selection of PS1 games, but you do still have access to the PlayStation Classic games that are built into the system. They'll be right here, PS Classics. So those 20 games. This is one of the issues. Remember, like, they had the European version of some games and then the US version. And it didn't matter. Like, you bought this in the US, it was kind of ridiculous. Why have the European version? I don't really understand that. It's kind of goofy, man. Sega CD, a bunch of games. Well, not a bunch, but 20 games. Some popular stuff there. Awesome. Super Nintendo, MSU1, same set. Oh, Hagane. I didn't know there was an MSU1 version of that. I'm pretty sure it's the same set as the last time. But awesome. Super Graphics, TurboGrafx CD, 34 games there. And then Virtual Boy, Mega Duck, all these things that were on the previous one, and then added, we do have 135 arcade games, Capcom Classics. So, arcade games were added, Neo Geo CD games were added. It's a little, well-rounded, little build here. 128 gigabytes. If you're still using your PlayStation Classic, I think this is an awesome build if you want to get the most out of it. A little selection of everything. Arcade games, console games, handheld games, still have PlayStation games on there. It's a nice little setup to get the most out of this system. So I almost forgot to jump into ports and talk about this real quick. So I'm going to leave you with this. This really needs some focus because there's a lot of cool stuff here. Castlevania Simon's Destiny. This is like Castlevania Doom. It's really awesome to jump into and mess around with. You got stuff like Diablo. Like, these are all ports. Doom, Duke Nukem, Marathon. You're going to have Doom 1 and 2. You're also going to have, which I think is pretty awesome, Sonic Mania on here. A port of Super Mario 64. It's not emulated. It's a port of Super Mario 64. Also, Zelda Ocarina of Time. I highlighted these in my previous video. They're freaking awesome. So, while, maybe some people will be moving on, saying farewell to the PlayStation Classic, this thing still lives on. So, enjoy this build. Grab it if you can. Let me know what you guys think. Really do appreciate every single one of you guys. Bye.